Welcome back to the first video of 2026. Hope you guys had a great New Year's. And I can't believe that it's already 2026. Great segue. I can't believe also that A$AP Rocky finally dropped his Don't Be Dumb project a few days ago on January 16th. So let's talk about the project, discuss it, and see if it really lived up to the hype, if it really was worth the wait, and if I enjoyed it, and if I think you should check it out. Now, side note, in my pursuit of trying to make these videos all in one take, I realize I forget half the shit that I want to say. So this time I brought notes. So if you see me looking down, that means I'm looking at my notes. And now that we got that really important, crucial information out of the way, let's just jump right into the project. This is his first album in 8 years since his 2018 release, Testing. And before Testing, Rocky's first 3 projects, when he broke out to the scene especially, he was known, sonically for having these very pitched down vocals, stretched out samples, kind of like Chop and Screwed, very Houston inspired music. And when Testing dropped, it was his first kind of first time he kind of went away from those sounds and tried something new, and it was very experimental, and it really kind of split his fan base. Personally, I love that project. It's probably my favorite project of Rocky since his mixtape, probably my most listened to A$AP Rocky project. But one criticism that I had was that it did really seem all over the place, even though the title was Testing, but it seemed more like a compilation project to me than a cohesive project. And I just happen to like every song that was on it, so that's why it's one of my most listened to A$AP Rocky projects. But when he was hyping this album up, he was saying it was also going to be, experimental. So I was hoping it would be a more refined, cohesive project from A$AP Rocky. And off the first listen, happy to say that those expectations were met for me. I love this project off the first listen, and it's been a couple of days since I've been listening to it, and I've just run that shit back over and over and over again. So just kind of a quick overview. The first half of the project was very upbeat, hyped. It's kind of like a return to form, and while the second half of the project was more introspective, slowed down a little bit. And one thing I want to note that I noticed with this project is that, like I said, it was cohesive. And if you look at the cover of the album, it says, Don't Be Dumb by A$AP Rocky, like with Tim Burton. So I'm assuming Tim Burton did the artwork and was kind of more of the art creative director and made sure that the aesthetic matched the sonics. And I really feel like you can tell, like when I was listening to the project sonically, aesthetically, I just thought of the same colors and the same characters of the album. So I feel like, knowing Rocky, he always talks about how this has to match that and that has to match this. So I knew it was very intentional that the sounds were supposed to match the cover, or vice versa, whichever way they went. And I feel like he did a really good job with that. And I want to give a shout out to, I think it's pronounced Awge, AWGE, who does all the music videos, because I feel like the music videos, the live performances, and other stuff that they did, the visualizers, all really matched the album perfectly. And I really love every album or every music video that they do. I know they've done his music video since Praise the Lord with Skepta off the Testing album. And they've done other artists' music videos as well, but I know they've done, I'm pretty sure A$AP Rocky's songs the most. But there's such a great underappreciated I don't know what you call them, video directors and editors and whatnot. So I just wanted to shout out them. But let's get into the songs. and I'm gonna go down each and every track and just give my thoughts on it. So the first track is called Order of Protection. Starts off kind of with these very mystic sounding synths. I don't know a better way to describe it. And it just sets the tone for the project sonically perfectly. And it plays out a little bit, and Rocky just jumps right into the song, talking about where he's been, where he's at. Kind of something I expected for an intro track, but it was really good. And it just, after that, it just transitions to Helicopter. And I've heard like snippets of the song before, so I was really hyped to see this project or see the song in its full form. And like before, as I expected, it was an absolute banger. I can't wait to hear that shit live. I thought there was gonna be a Cardi verse on there. I'm pretty sure there's an unreleased one, but it wasn't there, and that was the only thing. But that's just a nitpick. So it is what it is. But anyways, great song, great beat. It was a good follow up to the intro track. And then there's a funny skit that follows it that sets up the next song, Stole Your Flow. And I was expecting him to take shots at Drake on this project, and this is the song where he takes the most shots at Drake and other artists, I'm assuming. This shit was fucking had me moving my head like crazy. He hits this flow in the middle of the song. He's like this pocket, and that shit was fucking fire. That shit was, I don't know, it was a great song and a funny chorus. I know people are gonna be singing that shit during when he performs it live. But following that one, I don't usually like to look at the features before listening to the project. I like to be surprised, and this is the first feature, at least that I recognize, when Brent Faiyaz was on this one, and it just, it comes in perfectly. I was kind of hoping he would be on this project because Rocky was on Brent's last album. So I was kind of expecting this, and when his chorus came in, you just knew this song was going to hit. It's definitely a tone change from Stole Your Flow. It goes from, because Stole Your Flow is very hype, and this one kind of, what's it called? The aftermath. And it feels just kind of relaxed, and then you just come with this, smooth a song. Though, I wish these switch songs for the projects. Like I said, Rocky was on Brent's album, and then now Brent is on Rocky's album. I feel like they should have switched those songs. I feel like it would have fit a little bit better, but that's just a nitpick. Regardless, this song is amazing. It's called "Stay Here for Life," but following that, it's Playa. This is a cool, little calm track that it has the topic of Rocky flaunting his wealth and stuff like that. At least that's how I took it. But I lit up when I heard Thundercat's vocals at the top of this track. I love when Thundercat, he's so underrated and underappreciated, but he was on this project, and I thought that was a fantastic collab. No Trespassing is the next song. This is when the project started turning more experimental, and I just started loving the sonics, especially starting with this track. It's just another one that will just have nodding your head. I feel like this first 8-track run is absolutely insane. But then after that, Stop Snitching is the next song, which was a very fun listen. And it's crazy that he got Sauce Walka on here. I thought it was A$AP Ferg at first, and that's one of the nitpicks I have with Rocky. I don't know why he doesn't put Ferg on more of his projects. I feel like they go back and forth, and the chemistry is really good. But regardless, Sauce Walka's on here. That's kind of nuts, and it just shows that he's still reaching for this Houston sound, and still paying homage and showing love to Houston. After that, it's STFU, aka Shut the Fuck Up. This is probably when I first heard those I don't know, I think they're synths coming in. I was like, holy shit. It's probably the most insane song I've heard from Rocky. And like I said, the synths were crazy, the vocal cuts were crazy. I really liked it. The only thing that I was kind of iffy on was that verse that was in the middle. Kind of threw me off a little bit, but I get the point of it. I get the vibe of it. This will probably be insane live, and I'm not mad at it. I really, really, really loved this song. And I was seeing online that people were kind of hating on it, but I think this song was so good. Following that is Punk Rocky. It's probably my least favorite song, and it was a single off it. So I at first thought this was gonna be the sound he was going for. So I was kind of like, but we'll see how it is. The music video is crazy though. Check it out. There'll be some familiar faces in that music video. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but it's crazy how that person is in a ASAP Rocky video. But I guess it does make sense if it's Tim Burton doing it, but that's besides that. I digress. Let's see. Yeah. So this song, just my first, probably my only skip on this project. It sounded like a Sundress kind of rehash, but no, I'm just nitpicking. I'm just being a little negative at this part because the rest of the album is really good. Following that is Air Force. It's another song that's experimental, and it it did this beat cut, and I see what I was going for. It was really good. I liked both instrumental changes. It's said that Frank Ocean was supposed to be on this song, and I can totally see him on that second beat cut coming in. And at first listen, when I first heard it, the beat cut, it was kind of jarring, but after a while listening it over and over again, it sounds a lot better. So definitely give that song a couple listens if it's not your favorite at first. But yeah, following that is Whiskey. Another great cut where he talks about how hard it is to resist specific parts of life. At least that's how I took it. Gorillaz is on here, which is crazy. And according to the credits, Blur's frontman Damon Albarn is on here, which of all people. And this is great. It was a great beat, and had a West Side Gun on the beat switch. Like, there's a crazy beat switch. Had West Side Gun doing ad libs, and I was like, oh, I can't wait for this verse to fucking come in. And then all of a sudden, it changes to the next song. So that was my biggest, like, why the hell did you not let this motherfucker have a verse? But regardless, it was great. Fantastic song. And even just the ad-libs itself just adds so much to the song. So I'm not mad. I just said I'm not mad, but I am mad that there is no verse. All right, so following that one, Robbery, which I could see why people are like, I waited 8 years for jazz rap with Doechii, but I really liked this song. I really appreciate that he went out of his way to try something new. I've never heard something like that in popular music, or at least popular rap music. And I appreciate the risk, and I think the storytelling really, really made this song great. I just felt like I was in a movie or like some type of scene where him and Doechii are going back and forth, robbing a place, hence the name. And I thought this was an amazing track. Am I putting this on at the function? Probably not. But am I listening to this solo dolo? Of course. I feel like they both killed it. Their lyrics were nuts. And I feel like this was the best storytelling from Rocky in recent time when, in this sense. And Doechii really, really killed it on this song. But following that is probably one of my favorite songs off this, the title track, Don't Be Dumb. It's very Fashion Killer-esque from his first studio album, but it's a slow down, and he's singing on this track, and his singing sounds really good, and it puts you into this atmosphere of just kind of like the same shit that Fashion Killer did, and it's really good. And it cuts to a second song called Trip Baby, which is fine. It's a cool track. I don't know if it should have been its own song in my opinion, but regardless, I'm glad that we got it. And then after that is the final track, but there's two other on the second disc, which is called The End, and which fantastic ending. This is probably one of my favorite beats off his entire album, and it has will.i.am and returning collaborator Jessica Pratt. Happy to see her on here because I like their first song that they did called Hijack. But it's one of my favorite tracks, and it has an amazing sample flip of this, and it reminded me of that first song off his first album. What's that shit called? But where it has like this a child like voice. I don't know. I'm assuming it was a child. throughout the chorus, and it makes this eerie kind of atmosphere. And I felt like that matched the topic of the song very well, which is reflecting on how the world is going to end. And it's just a great topic to leave this project on, asking the viewer, what are we going to do? The world is turning into chaos, and what are we as people going to do about it? At least that's how I took it. And also, it kind of reminded me of Purity off Testing, at least sonically and also the vibe. So maybe those two songs combined, it really reminded me of, that's what the end reminded me of. And so he has 2 bonus tracks, SWAT Team and Fish and Steak, off the second disc. SWAT Team was, it was cool, but I understand why it was on the second disc. But the second song, Fish and Steak, with Tyler the Creator, should have definitely been on the first disc. That's a no-brainer. Everyone's waiting for a Rocky Tyler collab. And this is the first time that Tyler's been on a Rocky project, unless you count like the vocals off that 100 song. But this matched the first disc perfectly. Like, it was, kind of like throwing it back to that Houston sound, but also in an updated version. Has Tyler on it. Like, it was just, I don't know why he put this on the bonus tracks, but it's a great throwback to his early mixtape days, and I'm glad that it made it regardless. So that's just me nitpicking. Check out the project. I really liked it. The production was amazing, and that's kind of noted. Rocky's known for picking great beats. There's frequent collaborators on production like Kelvin Crash, Hector Delgado, and much, much more. And according to the credits, Rocky is on a lot of the production, which is really cool. And a collab I was waiting for, because I heard some of their, I don't know if they're unreleased, but I was hoping IC12 would be on production as well, which he is on one of the songs, I think, Stole Your Flow. So it's great to see. All the features did their thing. They really added to the tracks rather than making the tracks, which is really nice. And the highlight was probably Sauce Walka and Doechii. And just before I end this video, my favorite songs were Helicopter, Stole Your Flow, Stay Here for Life, STFU, Don't Be Dumb, The End, and Fish and Steak. So it's like half the fucking track list. Regardless, I really like this project. I think it probably is going to be my favorite Rocky project, but time will tell. Can't wait to see this live, and I'm really happy, and I really thought this lived up to the hype and lived up to what we were all expecting, which is really hard to do, especially after 8 years. I hope you don't have to wait another 8 years for his next project. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this.